Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Thriving in Chaos. With me, as always, is my awesome host, Stella Renee.
Hey, how are
Hey, hey,
you?
hey. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
It
Uh,
is hot in my house right now, but other than that, fantastic.
I'm actually pretty cold in my house. My husband likes to keep it, cold enough to hang meat.
We don't have our AC on yet because I refuse. So I'm just gonna be hot for a little bit. It's fine.
That's why they
Which is why my
invented
hair is
fans.
up. Well, that's my fans on, my windows are open, my hair is up. It's fine. It's
It's
fine.
fine.
Everything's fine.
It's fine.
Everything's fine. Everything is fine.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of fine, um, I had a busy day today. I actually got my taxes done.
Oh my gosh, you're only a lot late.
I blame it on the hospital.
That's fair. You should blame everything on someone else.
I do. I did. I just told them like, "Hey, I've been in the hospital dying of heart failure. This is the first day I've been out. What do you want me to do?"
I mean,
And
you're
they're
not
like,
lying.
"Oh, okay."
You like have though, so I mean, you were telling the truth. It's not like you didn't have a good reason.
I mean, yeah, but I wasn't entirely hospitalized like I made it out to be. I mean, I see a lot of doctors on a regular basis, but
You
not
spent a
enough to
lot
be
of time
like I'm dying in the hospital.
well, you're
But
recording this, so yes, you were.
I will use it to my advantage anytime I have to.
No, well, you
And
really have spent a lot of time in the hospital, so I think that's a valid reason for not being able to do it on time.
yeah, it's pretty much my home away from home at this point.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like you've had a lot of time to do anything other than not die.
Yeah. I also, speaking of not dying, I also finally took my car to get the estimate on getting it fixed after I got rear-ended.
Which was so ridiculous. Did you get that person's information too?
Of course I did.
Okay, good.
But their insurance company don't want to pay for it. So now my insurance company has decided they're going to bankrupt them.
Okay.
They're like, "Hey, we gave you a chance to do it the easy way and you said no. So now we're going to do it our way and bankrupt your ass."
I hate when they do that when they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to pay for that." Like you literally rear-ended someone. That is
Right.
your fault.
Well, like,
In the
first
state
off,
of Maryland, it's automatically someone else's fault. It's the person who rear ends fault. You should
and
have been.
that's where I got hit. I got hit in Maryland
Oh my gosh.
at the 895 tunnel,
Oh my gosh. Then yeah,
sitting
that's
in
their fault.
traffic.
But that's their fault automatically then if you were hitting
Well,
them.
yeah, my car was literally in park. So they can't blame me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So speaking of car accidents and in park, so that accident I got into a couple years back, then I was in park. I was in a parking lot in a parking space. This woman hopped over a median strip and smashed the rear end of my car. $28,000 worth of damage, by the way, because she was going 45, 55 miles an hour and was drunk.
In a
Um,
parking lot? Oh my God.
no, she wasn't in a parking lot. She was on so if anybody is in Maryland, it's on Veterans Highway. And I was in the parking spot and she hit the curb so hard she hopped over the median strip into the parking lot and hit my
Ooh.
car, turned my car completely sideways. Um, Airbags deployed, all that jazz, and was blackout drunk. So my friend went over to check on her, make sure she was okay. She was like, the alcohol smell is so bad that like she's like, I couldn't even get her to open the door. She couldn't understand anything I was saying. Um,
Yeah, that's never good.
no. But yeah, she called the insurance company the next day or like 2 days later when they let her out of jail because they had to lock her up. They had to keep her, but they ended up saying that she called and she was like, they pulled out in front of me. And I was like, I was in a parking lot. I have the police report. I was stopped in a parking space across the median strip. I wasn't pulling out anywhere. So I like literally there's a diagram on the police report and I was like, here, let me send this to you. And I sent it to them and they were like, yeah, you're fine. I was like, I know. I was like, because I am
You
not paying that.
you gotta love when they try to make it all your fault. Like his insurance company, the guy that hit me, first they're trying to say there's no police report. Then they're trying to say that originally when they contacted me, they said that they talked to the guy on the insurance and he said that he wasn't the one that hit me, or he wasn't the one that was driving. But then they turned around and said that they couldn't get a statement from the guy on the insurance after saying that.
That's weird.
Right. Like, how did you talk to him and you didn't talk to him at the same time?
They were like, "We're just not sure who we talked to, okay? We talked
Like,
to someone,
he can't not be the driver and then you
and
didn't.
also be the driver."
Right. So, yeah. And they're just trying not to pay out at all. But
Yeah.
State Farm's gonna wipe them out. Like,
I will tell you what, if they wanna pay us, that's great, but I love State Farm because I had swapped away from State Farm, and because they wanted to raise my rate like 30% or something, or a third of what it was, and I was like, "No, thanks." And then I went to a different insurance company for a little bit, and then I went right back to State Farm because they like the price was better, and I just like State Farm's coverage.
oh yeah, for sure. I've been with them since I was like 16.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, sorry, that was a lot that doesn't have anything to do with this episode.
exactly. See, we already went off on a tangent and haven't even gotten through the business part yet.
Not even 10 minutes in.
Not even. We're terrible. I don't know how our guests put up with us sometimes.
It's because we're relatable.
I know. I know. It's because most of America has ADHD and does the same shit we do, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's fine.
Um, so if you're much like us, you're gonna want to check out our merch. We add new stuff all the time.
I just
Um,
added stuff today.
exactly. She just added a tank top, right?
A tank top and then a random pair of leggings because I was playing around with stuff. So,
Oh, and speaking of merch,
did you get the apron?
I did get the apron. Look, if I can unravel it. Yay.
Chicken in the pot. I love that. So it's funny because like when I made that image, that is exactly what I was thinking of, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect."
Oh, if you guys
Just so
can-
everyone's clear, what I do is I actually use AI imaging because I cannot draw, but I am going to try. And that is it. It ended up being an AI image, but it is every time I do it, and if I plug the right words in, I get exactly what I'm looking for. So it is my artwork, even if I don't draw it. I don't know if that counts, but we're gonna count it for today.
and
Um, I
yeah,
do own the
and
images.
oh, yay. That's good to know.
Yeah. Well, they're like so the company that does it, it's like it's another like product designing software or printer. So it's the images you use you can use to sell. So they are my images.
So definitely check us out at thrivinginchaos.printful.me. And speaking of Printful, we are sponsored by Mythic Printers, Printmasters, Mythic Printmasters.
There you go. Yeah, and I just
I
actually found something the other day I forgot to bring over so I could show it, but I love their stuff.
definitely check them out, mythicprintmasters.com. I'm sure
Yep.
you know what they've got by now. They got the 3D printing stuff for pretty much anything you could ever want,
Yep.
and their
And
stuff
they
is really fucking cool. So go buy
yep.
some.
Awesome colors,
Um,
awesome designs. They take commissions, all that stuff. He paints them too. I don't know if I ever mentioned that. He also will paint them if it's something that needs to be painted.
ooh, even better.
Yeah.
Totally customizable. We are also partnered with Cardinal Massage Therapy, which is my personal favorite, just saying. I happen to use her on a weekly basis, and let me tell you, she's a magician with massaging. She knows the ins and outs, man. She found knots in places I didn't even know exist. I'm telling you, I walk in there feeling like a beat up hoopty car, and I leave feeling like $1,000,000. So
I love that,
definitely check her out.
especially in your condition.
Yes, yes. Massage therapy is my favorite form, and she's one of the few doctors I actually show up for.
That's fair.
It is. I think she's one of the ones that helps the most too.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. It's amazing what just a little bit of work on your body does for you.
Yeah, and if you use our link, you can get discounts from 5 to 20% off monthly subscriptions, depending on which one you want to pick. I personally have the Black Bear subscription, just saying. It's 4 2-hour massages per month.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. I love that too.
I
So,
bet you
yeah,
do.
definitely use our link. Sign up for that, especially if you're in the West Virginia area. If you're not, we don't give a shit. Come visit us anyway. Just make sure you have a passport to come down here. And we are also on the TikTok shop with a shit ton of products. Eventually, I will have them on the show. I just haven't filmed them yet because I'm waiting for all of them to come in before I do. But we will leave the links for that in our description as well. You all
I got
know
my
us.
toothpaste. That's what I know. I'm so excited. I'm just waiting for the other one to run out so I can change it because I got the blue raspberry flavor.
Yeah, you know you've hit adulthood when you're excited over toothpaste.
Oh.
Speaking of being excited, we do have a guest tonight that I'm sure would love to come out here now. So since the
7 years
business
later.
since the business is done now, we're going to bring our party out of the back. So, without further ado, we actually have an author tonight.
Yes. I'm so excited because they're second author, right? No, third author if you count Al.
Fourth if you count James.
Fifth if you count you.
Anyway, we've had a lot of people on the show. What can I say?
We have. It's hard to keep up, but it's awesome because like I love having authors on because everybody's got a cool like story to tell. So, anyways,
she's no different. She's got a great story to tell, and she's a little bit of a change of pace from what we're used to. She doesn't
I
fall
like
in
it.
our usual categories, so
I
it's going
love
to be
that.
an extra fun show because it's different and exciting. And without further ado, further ado, I told you I
Rebalism.
can't. I told you it's rebellism. I can't talk. I never claimed to, speak properly. I told you sarcasm is the only language I speak fluently, guys.
It's fine. I
So
wouldn't
here
have it
we
another
go
way.
again. Without further ado, let's welcome to our stage Miss Destiny. Not to be confused with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Hi, Destiny.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello,
Doing
hello,
okay.
hello. Hey, Dern.
Doing okay.
So, for the folks at home, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
My name is Destiny Pifer. I am a author whose debut novel was just published last August 2024.
Oh, awesome.
But it is one that I actually wrote 10 years ago. And it's a horror novel with a little bit of everything tossed into it.
Oh, my kind of girl. She's right on my level.
I like that. That's awesome. So you said you wrote it 10 years ago. Like, do you remember? I'm sure you remember. Everybody remembers. What was the inspiration for the novel?
Well, ideas just kind of come right into my head because I've always been an outcast. I've never really had a circle of friends to hang out with. So I spend a lot of time when my son's not constantly in. He's 17. But I spend a lot of time, on my own, kind of like a hermit. So a lot of these ideas, come into my head, and a lot of times I'm inspired by what maybe I watch on TV, an old 80s type horror movie or anthology series.
Oh, I love anthologies.
I grew
like
up.
the queen of them.
Yeah, I grew up in a household where my parents were always going every Friday and Saturday night to rent movies. And a lot of time, like 90% of the time, they were horror movies. So my brother and I both grew up watching horror movies. And so it kind of desensitized us to where when we grew up, my sons asked me, "Aren't you afraid of ghosts?" And it's like, very rarely. I mean, I have been on a few occasions, but I'm used to ghosts. I'm used to hauntings. I've just been inspired by all of that because I've been exposed to that kind of stuff since I was little.
Yeah. I actually totally get that because it's been very similar for me. It's actually funny too. I don't know if your kid is like this. My daughter, she's 12, so she's not significantly a lot younger than your son, but she'll watch a horror movie does not faze her. She'll watch a movie that I thought was scary as a kid, and she's like, "Okay, it's interesting to see."
Yeah. Yeah, my son has developed a love for horror as well because of me.
Yeah. Yep, my daughter too. It's funny how you pass that out, you pass it down and pass it down.
He's
Yeah.
definitely gonna want to watch our show then, because here lately we have indie horror actors out the ass, thanks to
Yeah.
Anthony and Mandy. We've had
Yeah.
like 4 months of the indie scene on our show, and we've got a couple months more to go because he's just filled up my timeline, which is
Honestly,
great. I love it.
Yeah.
I totally love it. Like, he keeps us stocked with fresh, new, exciting guests, and we're actually going to be a guest on his show next week. So,
it's coming Wednesday. Yeah.
It's awesome.
pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Can only imagine the chaos that will ensue.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of us. It'll be fun. So when you say you're a big fan of horror movies, would you say you prefer like big name horror movies or like the indie like kind of world or somewhere in between?
I always have gone for not only like the mainstream, like Freddy Krueger, Hellraiser, stuff like that, but one of my personal favorites was the movie Witchboard. I don't know if you heard of that. It had Tawny Katan. I probably mispronounced her last name, but she played in it.
I've watched it.
That's one of my personal favorite movies. And I usually like ones that don't get a lot of attention but are really creative, like Night of the Demons.
Yep, I like that one too.
Dario and Argento's Demons.
Yep.
But it's not only the horror, but it's also, I find them like so creative. I think back in the 80s, when it came to doing the makeup job to make these people look like they were demons or something, whoever like did that, like just was so creative, where now they seem to rely more on computer technology to change somebody to look like a monster, where back then they used their minds and their hands.
Yeah. I definitely see what you mean by that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of with her there. Like, I have my mainstream horrors that I like to watch, but I've also, like, here lately I'm becoming more of a fan of like the fan made films. Like, I know Steve Merlo, who made the Sawyer Family Massacre as a fan film from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and Anthony and Mandy just made Friday the 13th, The Blood Loss, for Friday the 13th, and they've got a couple other ones coming up too that are super exciting. I'm really interested in seeing his Bloodshed and Boredom, or Boredom and Bloodshed it is. I'm really excited for that one, on top of the Killer Pizza. So
yeah, I can't wait for Killer Pizza to come out. That's what I know.
would you say you're more of a fan of like supernatural horrors, or like more, say, slasher films or thrillers?
I'm more kind of into the supernatural type aspect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I like.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're all good.
One of my favorite series that a lot of people don't know about was called Friday the 13th, the TV series.
Yep.
About the haunted antique shop and the cursed antiques. That actually had a big inspiration on me, as did Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, I used to love Tales from the Crypt. And it's funny, I think I heard about the Friday the 13th show, but I don't think I ever watched it.
Oh, it's very, very good. They only had 3 seasons, but it was excellent.
Yeah. That's actually kind of like, I know if you're along the lines of anthologies, Creep Show was one of my favorites, because like they did the movies, which were like fucking perfect, and then they also had the TV series that ran for like 5 seasons that was also like epic. I was so in love with that show. I was so sad that they canceled it. Like, I'm not even joking.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, that inspired me, as well as Tales from the Dark Side.
Yes, I love
Oh
that.
yes, yes. I used to love that one too.
More recently, I think I saw Books of Blood or Book of Blood, something like that. And that one was really good too. It was like crazy, especially the girl at the end. Did you guys see that one?
No.
You know, I don't watch anything right now.
Yeah, I know.
I barely have time to go to the bathroom.
You have too much life to live, Stella.
There's so much going on all the time. It's fine.
2 jobs, 2 kids, 2 rebels. Like,
Might as well be two rebels. You're a full
but
time job, and I
I
love it.
know. I know I am. I'm a full-time job and I definitely don't have any benefits that come with it and you don't get paid to
You have
do
plenty of
it.
benefits. Plenty of
Ooh.
benefits.
Oh shh. They're not supposed to
Stop,
know about those.
guys.
Stop it.
Oh, fine.
This is exactly why we don't know each other in public.
You will. Like, it's funny because like when we're gonna do events, like you'll definitely see us in public. But outside of that, because we live far apart right now, like
Never.
you don't get to see us in public. We were together not that long ago though.
We were, and we forgot to like film anything while we
We
were
didn't take a
together.
single picture.
Not
We
a
didn't
single
film
picture.
anything.
But in all fairness, we were supposed to meet up at a later date during that
That's
weekend.
true. That's true.
But, life happened and traffic.
Life be life, and that's what I know.
But yeah, so Books of Blood was like a crazy anthology. And it was like a bunch of different stories, but they all tied in together at the end. So it was weird. And then there's another one that had the same name. It wasn't an anthology. It was just about a guy that had like the words of the dead written all over his body.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
Yeah,
it
I
was
saw
a
that
good
one.
Yeah, that one was really good too. I
That
felt really
sounds
bad
very
for him though.
familiar.
I felt so bad for that guy though.
The worst part is I watch stuff and then I never know what I watch, and then I'm like, wait, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, that happens to me where I'm like, "Oh, I know this movie,
Like,
but I
wait,
can't think of the name or
like
the
keep
actor."
talking because I feel like I know exactly what you're talking about because that sounds really familiar.
I want to say James McAvoy was in that movie and he was the guy.
Oh, that's probably why I love James McAvoy.
Is that right?
I don't know.
You've seen, right? Destiny?
I have, but I can't remember if that was him.
I swear, I feel like it was. But I could be wrong. But I mean, James McAvoy. Who doesn't love
So
him?
pretty.
Yeah, he's
He
good.
And
is. He's
so
pretty and
talented. Oh my gosh.
his voice. Oh my god, that voice. He was actually in the British version of Shameless, which
Was he really?
yeah,
I didn't know
it
that.
kind of shocked me a little bit cuz I was not expecting that. But I
Becoming
get it.
Jane, that's probably my favorite of his movies. Oh, that was so good. I've watched it like a million times.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's him and Anne Hathaway. And like it's like it's based she's Jane Austen and it's this like love story, but it's so cute.
Speaking of stories, tell us about yours cuz what's your book name? What's it about?
My book is called The House That Echoed Madness.
Ooh, I like that.
And
do
it's
too.
about a young woman named Temple who gets word from some relatives that she's never met that her mother is mentally ill and that she's tried to commit suicide. So Temple is lured to this shipping village, which is mysteriously abandoned, and she's lured up to this old mansion on the hill that's decaying, and she meets up with relatives who are hiding a very dark secret, and she ends up meeting up with her mother, who's basically tried to set herself on fire in order to not fall prey to this curse. And the curse is two choices. You could either choose to become demonically possessed, or you could choose insanity. She chose insanity. So
is either one really a choice? Because one's just as bad as the other.
I know. Yeah, it's a no-win situation, but Temple has to figure out how to fight this curse while also dealing with ghost, witchcraft, secret passageways. There's mysterious monsters lurking around that may have been a part of an experiment. And there's a cursed section of the house where there's this ancient book that may hold clues to why this family is cursed and how it all began. So she has to kind of go on this journey herself through this terribly frightening mansion with possessed relatives trying to, bring her, they want her to become possessed as well. And it's a pretty good mystery thriller / action, because she ends up kind of facing the curse head on.
Sounds like House on Haunted Hill meets The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything tossed in there.
Sounds like it.
I love that. That actually sounds really, really interesting. It sounds
Now
like
I
you have a
need-
lot of like adventure going through it. So it's like it's one of those where you open the book up and then you start getting into it and then you're like, oh no, I have to like go to work. But you're like, I also don't want to stop reading. I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody else, but it definitely happens to me. And that is it. That's why too, because you keep the story going with all of the things happening in it. So I love that.
Now I need 20 million copies right now. Where do I buy it?
It's on Amazon.com, and it's also, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Audible. They have somebody that's going to be narrating it.
Cool.
I need to get that for like when I'm on long road trips. I can just listen.
I love an audiobook.
Yeah, and I believe they're trying to eventually get it in Barnes and Nobles, but right now it's on Amazon.com.
Very cool.
And it took me about a year, almost a year and a half to write it. At the time, my son was 7, and I was working a full-time Monday through Friday as a news reporter for my local newspaper.
Oh, cool.
And then on the weekends, I was taking care of my mother, who was first diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I still take care of her. But I was working like late at night after my son would go to sleep, early in the morning before he would go to school. I was living on very little sleep, but I wanted to be a published author. So I didn't give up. I worked on it every single day. And it took me 10 years because a lot of publishers don't want to work with somebody new that's never been heard of. So it took me 10 years to finally find an indie horror press that was willing to take it on, that really loved it. And I've been surprised by the positive feedback I've gotten on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Did you find a traditional publisher or self-publish?
It was like a traditional, like a up and coming indie horror press that's really expanded.
Like,
That's
did they pay you for your book?
No, I get paid royalties. Royalties aren't too high. I mean, I don't think I've sold that many copies because I've got people that are afraid of horror in my town. However, my aunt, who is a churchgoer, who's never been a horror fan, devoured it in like a day, I believe.
That's
a day
awesome.
or 1 or 2 days. She devoured it. She loved it. And she was like her book was the first copy that I autographed before I even got to my own mother's copy.
That's funny.
Yeah. And so a lot of people who aren't horror fans picked it up, and they're like, you know what? Once we started, we didn't want to stop until we
I
finished.
love that.
Yeah.
That's how it was for the people that actually got to read my book. My problem was I did self-publish, and at the time I didn't have a whole lot of money when I self-published. I was hoping the book would take off more than it did. But I didn't really, the publisher didn't do any kind of editing or anything, so it's like full of mistakes, and they really didn't do anything to market it either. Like, it was just kind of like, I paid you to print it. Like,
yeah.
like if you have to pay to self-publish, you clearly don't have that kind of money to just travel around and hope somebody wants to buy your book or do a book signing
Right.
with you.
Yeah.
So,
They're banking on people who are just going to be like, "Oh, I just wanted to be published." Period. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, my book, I was hoping it would go somewhere, but like I never ended up writing the other 3 that should have went with it because I just didn't see a point when nobody really cared, you know?
So actually, I just listened to Al's podcast. He was talking about his book, and he was saying how uh, an author doesn't necessarily make a lot on royalties until you write more than one. And that's when you really start to pick up speed. So if you have one book, it's less likely you're going to be recognized, and it's less likely that it's going to be like, oh, there's all these other books following it.
Yeah, I'm currently working on a second book.
I was just
I
going to
don't-
ask you if it was going to be a series.
Possibly. But I'm working. It's been hard to work on the second book because I have to do all the marketing myself, the advertising, and really push it out there socially and in public. So, with doing all that and trying to take care of my mother and trying to find a different job because it's become very hard to take care of her. It's I've been kind of dragging on doing the second book because actually after I wrote that, a couple years later I wrote a memoir on my experience working in the healthcare field.
Oh, I love that.
I worked at a hospital as a nurse's aide.
Mhm.
So I was like right under the nurses, but right there, patient
Yep. Patient
direct
care.
patient care. So I kind of wrote a memoir to let people know what goes on behind the scenes,
Mhm.
just how crazy and chaotic and busy it is. And believe you me, there's horror stories there because
Oh, I'm
sometimes I have to
sure.
work with people who either had dementia or were combative or who were, just, kind of psychotic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got my own horror stories there, but I haven't found anyone to pick up the memoir yet. So I guess it's just been hard because I want to get that published too. But at the same time, I'm trying to work on this horror novel kind of at
Right.
a so yeah, it's just been I've been juggling a lot of balls and
I get that.
then I've started doing my own little podcast in a way, my own like TikTok videos on like
Very cool.
hauntings and true crime stories and just focusing on like haunted places and places where something horrible happened and there's a story behind it.
So like everywhere in America?
Yeah, well, around my area, yeah, you'd be surprised. But
yeah, where you are, I bet you have some really great stuff too.
I mean, she's in PA, so of course she's got great stuff. She's got Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her state has Kim Yates.
That's true. But I don't think it's that close either.
Probably not. She's probably in the middle of nowhere, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, Puxatawny is like isn't it in the middle of the state?
Just about, more or less.
Yeah. Just after we wrap up, hang out for a little bit because I know you mentioned something about healthcare, and so I want to talk to you a little bit off the record about that.
Off the grid. We're going off the grid.
We're gonna talk for a second. Just about like getting another job in healthcare and stuff. So we'll talk about that.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so it is really hard, and I think it's very important that you're taking care of your mother from someone who also had a hand in taking care of their mother. It is very important. You will not regret doing that. Yeah, like she and I have both been through this. Like you're not going to regret taking care of someone and making the last little bit of their life that you as comfortable as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And making them feel like they are not a burden and that they are loved and that they're, cherished and cared for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one of the main reasons I'm trying to find a different job is for my mental health because watching her decline and start to lose her hearing and everything, it's worked on me because I've been doing this for over 10 years. I mean,
It's
Mhm.
exhausting.
it is
Mhm.
exhausting, and
It's exhausting taking care of sick people.
yeah, and I've got my son, he's 17, he's going to be a junior next year, and he wants to be a voice actor slash animator.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a good
and
field to go into.
yeah, so we both have a great love for horror, though. I've been published in over 60 anthologies.
Mhm.
Ooh. that's
Yeah,
awesome.
my dad was very surprised to come in and see this whole bookshelf filled full of these books, and he's like, why do you have like papers in them? And I'm like, because I have stories. I'm like,
Mhm.
bookmarking what stories
Where
are
you
in
are,
all
yeah.
these books, and he couldn't get over that I've been published. But I was a news reporter for 5 years,
Right.
so I've got thousands
I
of
bet that was a cool job
articles.
too.
It was one of my most favorite jobs that I ever had. I had 3 personal columns. One was about historical places in Punxsutawney and the pioneers, and I
I
did
like
one.
history.
Yeah, I
Same.
did one on Familiar Face Friday, which focused on certain people in the community who were making a difference, but who were not being recognized.
Oh, I
They were
love
kind
that.
of hiding behind the screen, so I brought them forward. And then my
Kind of
third,
what we're doing.
Yeah.
my third column was my own personal column about my life as a single mom with my son.
Oh, I like that too. I love
So
that.
yeah, I have like a ton of writing experience. I've been writing since I was 8, getting published since I was 13.
Yeah.
Actually wrote my first novel when I was 13, but it got lost.
Oh no.
Yeah, so yeah, I have been writing for so long. It's all that it's like my biggest passion.
Yeah. You should like there are always like gigs and stuff. I don't know if you like Craigslist used to do it. I don't know, that is probably dating me. Kind of hurts my soul a little bit. But they used to have on their like writing gigs and stuff that you could find, and it didn't necessarily have to be local, but like if you would just write for stuff.
Yeah,
I think I'm
that
part of a website that does that now. I get emails all the
Probably.
time for freelance writing work.
Yeah.
yeah, I have applied, but there's just so much competition. There's just so
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
writers wanting
Well,
to work remotely, and I guess I kind of want to get out there working around people again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
ew,
true too.
why? I mean,
Yeah.
oh, yay.
Look,
Well,
let me just tell you, it is nice to be able to get out of the house and talk to people that are not in your house.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm good.
when I'm having my main conversation with my cat, then I start to worry a little bit.
I mean, in all fairness, I'm a talk show host, so I talk to millions of people every day.
This is what we do. This is part
Okay,
of it too. Like
okay,
this is
if we're
why I
be-
like doing this, is because we go talk to different people.
I mean,
That's
if we're being honest, we're probably only streaming to like 50 people right now.
That's not true. We have
Actually,
145
subscribers
Thank
now.
you so much.
Doesn't mean they're watching us right now, though.
But
But
we are also getting out there on the podcast world, so it's fine.
we are. We're definitely expanding. But this is why we do things like this. Like, our show originally started off with a lot of celebrities. You know, Jeremy,
Yep.
Bob, even Todd
Yep.
recently.
Yeah.
But we've kind of opened the door up for the people that aren't well known and should be.
Right.
So our slogan has kind of become, we're thriving in chaos. We're not just entertainment, we're real life.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're kind of showing people not only the struggles of what it's like to be a celebrity, but the struggles of what it's like trying to get to that status, you know?
Right.
Everybody,
Criteria.
okay, maybe not everybody's dream is fame, but like everybody wants to be rich. You're not going to tell me there's anybody in
Yeah.
the world that's going to
Oh
be
my
like, I just want to be broke forever. No,
I
not
just want to be
happening.
comfortable. That's all I want. Like I just want to.
That's what I say. I want to be comfortable to where I don't have to, I can have whatever I want and bills still get paid, but like,
Right. I don't want to go to McDonald's and get my card declined.
right.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
I
I
don't
agree
need to
with
be
you.
Scrooge McDuck though. I don't need a vault full of money. I just want enough to live comfortably and happily. And Buy
enough to
whatever
give
the
to
hell I
others.
want.
That's what I would like. Enough to be able to like provide for others as well.
I don't need a
Yeah.
Bugatti or a Ferrari, maybe a Lamborghini, but
Oh, Lamborghinis are cool. Yeah.
Look, I just want cute boots from Torrid. That's what I want because every single year there are boots at Torrid I need. So that's what I need.
isn't that supposed to be like the cheapest of the bougie stores?
I do not care. Their boots fit my calves and they're cute.
Okay, but aren't they affordable? Is the point I was getting at.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I just want to buy boots at Torrid. That's all I want without having to be like, oh, I'm so sad because I spent $70 on boots. And by that I mean multiple pairs because I think they're like cheaper than that. That's all I want. That's all I want. Just be comfortable.
She just wants a house full of shoes. It's okay.
I want to buy groceries, guys. That's all I need.
Oh, now it's the groceries. After she
Oh.
buys the shoes, she'll see what's left for groceries.
Priorities, man. You can live on lettuce and ranch dressing.
I mean, in all fairness, I had a guy one time who said that if he was ever stranded on a desert island, he was going to survive eating his boogers.
Ew. Oh,
Ew. Yeah. Okay.
I would
I'm
rather die.
Same. I'm like, really? I first off, I don't think you get enough of those on a daily basis to survive by eating them.
And I'm pretty sure there's like 0 nutrients in that, but I don't know because I don't eat boogers, guys.
Well, maybe you should start and tell us how it is, Stella.
Save money on those groceries.
Right? Definitely save money on groceries, and obviously, there's
Nasal
no rescue
spray?
team coming. Sure.
Yeah.
At that point, there's no rescue team coming. They're gonna see you and be like, "No."
Be like, oh, not that guy.
They're gonna be like, did we really see him, guys?
Like,
Did
"Alright."
we really? Are we sure we saw him?
Didn't
I
see him.
don't think so. They're gonna be
Oh.
like, yeah, we're just gonna leave him there a little while. It's okay. He'll be fine. He's got
Fine.
his boogers to eat. He'll
Yeah,
never run
fine.
out. It's okay.
Oh, but then like you're gonna get dust and dirt and stuff in your nose, and I'm like, that's gonna get in those. It's like it's a whole thing. No thanks. That's gross.
Yeah.
That's all I can think about in my head is like, oh, there's so many reasons that's disgusting.
Although I once had a biology teacher. Now, mind you, she was not the most moral teacher in the world. she used to tell us stories about how she would take speed and drive all night and all kinds of crazy stuff. And
Wow.
at one point, she was like telling us about, how like kids bite their nails. Obviously, I do. I'm not going to pretend I don't.
I don't generate.
But like she was trying to say, like, if your kids pick their nose and eat their boogers or bite their fingernails, let them, because they build up more immunities to things and they get sick less. Because essentially that's what they're doing. They're putting the germs in their body, so they're being exposed to it. Kind of like how snake venom is what you use to make anti-venom.
Yeah. I was gonna say I get the logic though.
Still gross.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop it from being disgusting, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure half of us passed the class just because, they would smoke weed with her.
oh my gosh, that's funny.
I mean, she invited us all to like pool parties at her house and shit.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And she would bring like her cute little Cavalier King Charles dogs to class with her. And we just spent the whole time in class like playing with the dogs. We didn't do any work. She would just lecture us, and if we showed up on test day, we automatically got an A.
Oh, that's funny.
It's the best teacher ever. Don't ask me how to do science. I'm not good at it.
Don't know how to do the science.
I don't know how to do the science part of the science.
Yeah, we the closest I got was my high school German teacher. We would because we were all seniors, so we would get like a half day. So after her class, we'd be like, "Come to breakfast with us," and she would be like, "No." And then we'd be like, "But you don't have anything next period. It's just a planning period for you. Come plan to have food with us." And then sometimes she would be like, "Fine," and then she would just end up at the same time at the place we were, but not because we invited her. But yeah, no, like that's the closest I got.
Yeah, my son brought home big packet for chemistry class, and I was like, "Oh my god! Don't even ask me for help." It was like foreign language to me.
I'm like, if you mix some things with other things, sometimes they go boom.
Yeah.
I remember one point, like I had math homework that was so complicated. My, my mom wrote a note to my teacher, and she told her if she was going to send home this kind of fucking homework, she better come home to do it herself and teach me
I
how
think
to
you told
do
me
it
that story
better.
before.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
But like, look, we live in a time now where like we have YouTube and stuff to help show us stuff because my kids, like, I'm not the greatest at math as in math classes. I do math for my full-time job because I work in a payroll department. But that's the point. Math as it applies to school, I am terrible at. So I'm like, babe, I'm not going to be any help for you.
That's
You
because
can go
schools
ask
have
your
their own damn
grandfather.
rules.
And then he's like, I don't remember any of this. And then I was like, you maybe call your dad because he's really good at math. And then she'll call him and he'll be like, I don't know. And I'm like, all right, we're just going to YouTube. And then he does the same thing. Her dad will do the same thing. Just we're going to go to YouTube and find a way that helps you figure it out. And that's the best thing so far.
Yeah.
I wish we'd had that when
like,
I was in school.
I've heard that like Common Core math is like 102 steps.
It is a lot of steps, but honestly, if they had that when I was in school, that would have taught me how to break the numbers down to make it all make sense. Because as soon as I saw it, I think she was in 3rd or 4th grade. It was 4th grade math, and we're sitting there, and her math teacher breaks down a problem at like back to school night. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, it was this easy this whole time. Like this whole time, this was like somebody could have just explained it like this. And I was like, I feel like an idiot because here I am, almost 40 years old, and it took me this long to figure this out. I was like, this would have been so helpful.
Really?
Because yes, it's
I
everybody
feel like
talks
a
bad
lot of
about
the
it because
steps
everybody's
are
like, we
unnecessary.
used to. Well, everybody's like, we used to memorize things, and we were told these things, and like that high and mighty, like don't change it because it's not broken. No, but not everybody understands that way. But the way that they broke it down helps you understand. And yes, it's a lot of steps at first, but once you get used to those steps, you can just break it down in your head. Because it's how I do it anyways, but nobody ever explained that to me. It's how that is literally on paper how my brain works.
I'd have to see.
I was so amazed.
I'd have to see. I've never actually seen Common Core math like that. I've just seen maybe 1 or 2 examples, and I don't know. I felt like I could have just gotten the answer by looking at the problem and not having to do any work to it.
Well, and I could too now, but if you had broken it down like that for me originally, I totally could have gotten it. And I was like, I bet I would have understood so many more things if this had been the case. Like if somebody had just shown me how the numbers work instead of just being like, I don't know why you don't understand this, just do it.
Yeah. Me and algebra were not friends. Geometry is not my friend.
No.
I don't see a point in algebra. I'll never fucking use it. Geometry.
Everybody says that, but I can totally see where I use it like on the regular.
Where?
Like just regular day-to-day stuff.
But how do you know you have the right answer?
Because usually it's simple enough that it's, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. And it's usually the most simple of equations. It's never like the Pythagorean theorem or anything like that.
I mean, like, can you give an example of when you've used algebra?
Do you know my ADHD will not let me give you examples? Have you met me? Also, narcissistic abuse damages that part of your brain too. So no, but the next time I'll be like, oh my God, I'll text you and be like, this is where I mean. So I'll text you the next time. I'm like, this is what I mean when I say that algebra, you use it all the time.
Yeah, you're going to have to, because I've yet to see a single example where I could ever use that in my entire life.
And it's the principles, not necessarily the equations.
Unless maybe I'm doing it and I don't realize I am.
That's what it is, because you're hold on. Like, I was just trying to figure out how many, ounces were in what I ate of the food that I ate. And so then I had to be like, okay, well, I had to take the ounces that it was and then figure out exactly how many, the pounds it was, figure out how many ounces that was, and then figure out how many ounces per thing. And that's all that.
Really? Because I thought it was just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division.
That's all it really is, though. But it's the equation. So this would be like, I have X amount of this and Y amount of this. You know what I mean? That's all it is. I'm not talking about freaking crazy.
I'll take your
old
word for it,
principles.
still. I'll take your word
Okay.
for it.
Well, the people can tell
Rebel,
me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm equating it to is algebra.
Rebel and math just do not work.
Well, same, but here I am paying people for a living.
And I'm the one getting paid, so that's my job.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. That was a whole tangent.
See, I tried to warn you. Destiny. I told you we can't stay on topic to save our lives. Like,
I got excited about math. Oh,
right. You're like the epitome of adulthood. First you're excited over toothpaste,
oh my
now
gosh.
it's math.
Like, you might as well just somebody buy me a coffin, please.
I'm gonna buy you a cane and a grandma shawl.
I could totally use a cane though. Like,
I got a
rock.
walker I call Mercedes because it's got a chair on it and wheels.
I had one of those. My dad gave it to my grandmother. It was my mom's
Oh God.
when she couldn't walk. I actually
we
looked
won't
at a
go
cane.
there.
I looked at a cane because I was like, I cannot move. It was sad. Anyways,
Yeah.
back to the thing. Sorry, I ruined
What
the
was
mood
your
with the
favorite
math.
subject in school?
My favorite subject was art.
Yeah.
I'm an
Ooh.
artist as well, so.
Oh, wait a minute. Like, what kind of artist? Like, what medium do you use?
I do 3D type art. Dorothy, do you want to get that down for me, that top one? This is my son. Here.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
I like that.
cool.
That's what type of art I do. The kind that's coming out of the canvas.
That's really pretty.
Thank
That's
you.
really cool.
That can be Phantom of the Masquerade right there.
Yeah.
That's
it was
really
like
cool.
Phantom of the Opera meets Mardi Gras.
You should do like craft shows and stuff. I bet you could sell like a ton of that stuff because it's just like
Yeah,
that's
I'm
exciting.
actually a member of the Punxsutawney Arts Association. So
Oh.
my artwork has actually been in the Groundhog Day art show.
That's awesome.
So I haven't sold any pieces, but I've gotten a lot of compliments, especially by young people who really love my arts.
That's awesome.
In fact, we did this project called the Trash Can Project, where we took the different trash cans throughout Punxsutawney and we designed 4 pieces, 4 panels, and we made them weatherproof, and we designed all these garbage cans. So I have my own garbage can in Punxsutawney that is all 4 sides are Native American because our town is very rich in Native American. In fact,
I love that culture. I love Native American culture.
What people don't know is there's actually kind of a scary story about how Punxsutawney got its name.
Okay.
There was a village, Native American village. They settled in Punxsutawney, but they were being terrorized by this evil sorcerer, this Native American, like he was a shaman who was doing like massacring people. And this
That's
young
always
brave,
fun.
yeah,
nice.
this young brave, like this, actually it was a chief. The chief went up against him and defeated him, and they burned his body, and the ashes turned into these like sandflies, and the sandflies started like attacking people. They were getting all bit up, so the tribe had to leave Punxsutawney until, years later when settlers came in. So that's how Punxsutawney got its name. It's the town of the sandflies.
That's pretty crazy. Like,
yeah.
And I love how she just casually says that. Oh, it was a massacre. This guy showed up and defeated this guy. Then we burned the body, and it all
this little thing that happened.
It's cool. It's no big deal.
It's been a long time.
Feeling cute. Might go start the plagues of Egypt later.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We already got the sandflies. Why not add the locusts and the frogs
I
too?
mean, it's cool.
Just for the hell of it, we'll throw boils in there too.
Oh.
Anybody want to get rid of their firstborn while we're at it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story though. Like who? I don't know. It always cracks me up with stories because it's like, how do you like? I don't know. Stories like that. It's like if there wasn't a basis for it, that is so far fetched that it's like that. Where did you even come up with that if it wasn't real? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
But
we
the
all know the truth
historical,
is stranger than fiction.
yeah,
Exactly.
the historical society, they're like, yeah, that's the legend
Yeah.
of how the town got its name. So I always found that to be really fascinating because I love it when there's you never know, the darkness that a
Right.
town has.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Huh.
I wish I knew the history of like where I'm from, but like I don't know that I want to.
What you want to know? I can probably tell you.
I don't want to know. It's okay.
I don't blame you. I
There are
didn't
some
wanna
bits
know
that I
either.
do know, and then the rest of it, I'm like, it's fine. I don't really care enough.
Although I did actually go to Burkittsville one time, and I found the house that they used in the Blair Witch Project.
hmm
It was pretty cool.
You know
I
what's funny
mean,
is that movie used to freak me out, but I'm like, I know that it's not. Like, I know it's just like a first person filmed horror movie, but it worked. It was scary.
really? I
Yeah.
thought it was like the most boring thing in the world. And I was like
Well,
12 when I
until the
watched it.
end, it was boring until the end, and then it was like everybody disappeared. Then I was like, oh, and they're showing you like the house and stuff. I'm like, this is really creepy.
Even that was not as good as I wanted. I wanted to see something happen.
Yeah,
I
me
I
didn't
did
just
too.
wanna
That's why
see
that's why
people.
the end got me. And then like they tell you the story or whatever at the end.
Yeah, I thought it was boring too.
Yeah.
I just it didn't capture my attention.
Well, and then the second or third one or whatever, because they kept going. It was like, and I don't see things when they first come out, so it had been a while. But like the second or third one, I thought was also it was like an actual like regular horror movie, and I thought that was good. I thought it was filmed better than the first one, but I didn't think that one was particularly scary. I don't know.
What is the scariest movie y'all think you've ever seen?
For me, it's The Fly, the 1987 version with Jeff Goldblum. I don't know if either one of you ever
I've
saw
never seen that.
I have. That, yeah. That's
Oh
pretty
my
bad.
god. I've written body horror too, but I cannot, even as an adult, I can't watch that movie. And it just like that's another example of how creative they were with doing his makeup, that it still scares me to this day watching that movie. And seeing body parts falling off. It's just yeah, it's crazy, but that movie is the scariest movie I've ever seen.
I don't. The movie that scared me the most ever was definitely Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I don't think that movie's particularly scary, but it's the one that scared me the most. And I think that's literally just because I was a kid and it was terrifying.
In my defense, I'd have to give it to The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Mainly
By
because
the
I've
time
been
I
living.
saw that, it was like out of date, so like it wasn't scary for me. You know what I mean?
Well, the first time I watched it, I was 6, and I that's when
Yeah.
I started coming into my abilities. So I was literally living that life.
You're like, oh,
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, oh, great. Satan really does come out the TV. Okay, cool. So we're really doing this, huh? All right.
yeah. Everybody thought The Ring was scary. I did not think The Ring was scary.
No.
Actually, funny story. So, like, my asshole friend in the neighborhood, he used to, like, come to my window all the time. And he, like, climb up on my shed in the backyard and look in my window where my bedroom was. So, because that's how he and I would, like, communicate before cell phones happened. And
Yeah.
so he was coming over to see if I wanted to come out and play tag. And he happened to look in the window and see I fell asleep watching The Ring. And I woke up right as like Samara was coming out of the TV in the movie, and it looked like it was coming out of my TV. And then this asshole's had the nerve to call me on the phone and be like, "You're gonna die in 7 days."
That's funny.
Oh, I wanted to kill him after that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't.
But I didn't think it was that scary. Like, once I actually watched through the whole thing
Yeah.
and didn't fall asleep and realized she wasn't coming out of my TV.
And your friend wasn't there being an asshole.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I tend to like slasher films, so unless something is like, oh, that could really happen to you, I tend to feel like I'm just entertained.
Yeah.
Although I will say one of the dumbest movies that scared me when I was a kid was Return of the Living Dead. Specifically, like, I'm not even scared of zombies, but like those zombies just would not fucking die. Like, it didn't matter if you hit their brain, if you decapitated them, dismembered them, they were still alive. There was no killing them. And then they were intelligent on top of it and were like calling the cops to bring more brains.
Yeah.
So when was it I don't know, 2003, 6, something. When Dawn of the Dead came out, it was the one where they were in the mall and the girl was pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, like that, again, not scary, but it totally got me. I literally had a dream not long after that I was in a zombie thing.
Were you pregnant at the time?
No. This is before I even got married. But it wasn't long after that. I was still living with my parents. I was asleep. I had this dream, and it was the first time I experienced the sleep paralysis because I could not get my body up. But I was awake, but my body wouldn't move. But in the dream, my sister-in-law's mother, who you know, she had given me like poisoned popcorn. I worked at a movie theater at the time. Poisoned popcorn because I had been bitten by a zombie, and she was like, "This is how you'll die like this, and it'll be peaceful and it won't hurt." And I was like, "Okay." And then I woke up, but my body didn't move, and of course, my immediate reaction was, "Oh shit." And then, like, you know, a minute or two later, which felt like a half an hour, my body started to move. But sleep paralysis is terrifying when you don't know what's happening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had that.
Oh my god, it's like terrifying. And it's funny because at the time I kept asking people about it. Nobody had it. Nobody knew what I was talking about, and I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm just nuts." And now, like, so many people have had it that I like. It's like, I guess I'm in the right world where I can talk about things like this and people actually get it.
You're not cool unless you pee your pants.
I know. Hello.
You're not cool unless you have demons stalking you, pinning you down, and not letting you move.
Oh, obviously.
Welcome to the Losers Club, Stella.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Join the
I'm
club.
just happy to be welcomed. I can make jackets. That's what I do, apparently. Anyways. That's enough. Sorry, guys. Tangent.
And on that last tangent, we have come to the end of our time.
Yeah.
That hour went quicker than I thought.
It definitely went a lot faster than I thought it was going to go.
So, Destiny, is there anything you want to leave us with in closing? You know, we're definitely going to put a link to your book in our description so people can buy it. Don't be cheap, guys. Support the local artists.
First of all, buy the book. It's on Amazon, but do not return it.
Right.
Pass it on if you don't want it anymore. If you're done with it. Because when you return a book to Amazon, it hurts the author. Don't return books to Amazon.
Just buy them all and go resell them somewhere else.
Just pass them on to like your family and then be like, buy your own copy.
Here, read this, then buy it.
Exactly. Or just tell them that if they want to read it, they can go get their own.
Pretty much. So, yeah, if you send me a link to your book, I'll put it in our description when your episode airs. It'll definitely, for sure, be a couple weeks because we are so backed up on episodes right now. Like, I'm just stockpiling them all for future references. But, yeah. So if you send me a link for your book, I'll definitely put that in our description, along with our TikTok shop, Mythic Print Masters, Cardinal
Yep.
Massage Therapy,
Yep.
and our merch that
Right.
everybody will love so much. By the way, anybody that decides to be a guest on our show must purchase our merch. Just kidding.
No, that's not a thing.
It's not a thing. It's just a joke. It's just a joke, guys. It's just a joke. But you know what? Most of you are booked until November anyway, so you're stuck. Ha ha. And on that note, we out.
All right. Thank you for